You know, the 1900s ended with this incredible feeling of optimism, a sense that technology and human progress were just unstoppable. But the decade that came next, the 1910s, it didn't just challenge that idea, it absolutely shattered it. Today, we're going to dive into how this decade of war, revolution, and upheaval really ended an old world and gave birth to the one we live in now. And that quote really just says it all, doesn't it? I mean, think about it. The previous decade gave us the airplane, the radio, amazing things. The 1910s gave us global war and a scale of death nobody had ever seen before. It was a brutal wake-up call that completely changed how we saw ourselves, our ability to create, but also our terrifying capacity to destroy. So, picture the start of the decade. Life just moved at a different rhythm. In the cities, you had horse-drawn carts sharing the streets with the very first cars. You had these colossal empires that had been around for centuries, seemingly permanent fixtures of the world. But that whole world, the world of yesterday, was about to be completely engulfed by a world on fire, a world of industrialized warfare, military tanks, and revolution.
And right at the very heart of this massive change was one single earth-shattering event, the Great War. Of course, we know it today as World War I. This was the conflict that dragged the whole planet kicking and screaming into the 20th century.
The spark that lit the fuse was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. But honestly, Europe was already a powder keg just waiting to explode. It was tangled in this incredibly complex web of military alliances, so that one gunshot in Sarajevo set off this disastrous chain reaction. It's crazy to think that in just over a month, all these treaties and promises pulled the great powers of Europe into a war everyone thought would be over by Christmas. They couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah, this was not the kind of war anyone had seen before. This was a whole new kind of hell. You had millions of men stuck in these massive, muddy trench systems, facing machine guns, huge artillery shells, and maybe the most horrifying of all, chemical weapons. At the Second Battle of Ypres, for instance, German forces unleashed these huge clouds of chlorine gas. It was a terrifying new element on the battlefield.
And the human cost, it's just staggering. It's almost impossible to really wrap your head around. This number you're looking at, 57,000, that's the number of British casualties on one single day, the very first day of the Battle of the Somme in 1916. It is still the bloodiest day in the entire history of the British Army.
But the Somme also marked a major technological shift. In the middle of all that slaughter, the British rolled out the first ever military tanks. These new metal beasts were designed to try and break the brutal stalemate of the trenches. And, while they didn't have a huge impact right away, they were a sign of what was to come. They were the dawn of mechanized warfare, a legacy that would shape conflict for the next 100 years.
The incredible strain of the war didn't just break soldiers. It broke entire countries. The political map of the world was about to be completely and violently redrawn as institutions that had stood for centuries just crumbled under the pressure.
So what does happen? Well, you get a massive power vacuum. And into that void rush brand new nations, new borders, and radical new ideas. Ideas that would go on to define the rest of the 20th century. By the end of the decade, 4 of the world's most powerful empires were just gone. The Romanovs in Russia, the Hohenzollerns in Germany, the Habsburgs in Austria-Hungary, and the Ottomans in the Middle East. All of them vanished from the map. This was the end of an entire era of kings and emperors that had lasted for centuries. And the first one to fall was Russia. The war was just a total disaster for the Tsar. You had these crushing defeats on the battlefield, and then back home, severe food shortages and constant unrest. It created the perfect storm. In February 1917, protests just exploded, and Tsar Nicholas II was forced to abdicate, which ended 300 years of Romanov family rule. But the revolution was far from over. Taking advantage of all the chaos, Vladimir Lenin and his Bolshevik party seized power later that year. And they brought with them this totally radical new ideology, communism. They established the world's very first communist state, and in doing so, they basically set the stage for an ideological war with capitalism that would dominate world politics for the next 70 years. But all the chaos of the 1910s wasn't just happening on battlefields or in palaces. The decade was also hit by these profound shocks that affected everyday civilian life, shaking people's faith and exposing some really deep social problems.
Even before the war started, a completely different kind of disaster grabbed the world's attention. I'm talking about the sinking of the RMS Titanic. It was so much more than just a shipwreck. It was a huge cultural blow. It was sold as this pinnacle of modern technology, a symbol of that pre-war optimism.
So when it sank, it was this humbling, shocking reminder that maybe we hadn't conquered nature after all. That belief in inevitable progress took a serious hit.
And right as the Great War was finally winding down, an even deadlier killer began to sweep across the globe. This is a conservative estimate for the number of people killed by the Spanish flu pandemic between 1918 and 1919, over 50 million.
Let's just put that number into perspective for a second. This chart shows the grim reality. The Spanish flu killed at least 5 times more people than all of the combat in World War I. It infected about a third of the entire planet's population. And the war itself, with its crowded barracks and mass movements of troops, created the perfect conditions for the virus to spread like wildfire. But amidst all this death and destruction, a powerful movement for social change was gaining incredible momentum. The international fight for women's suffrage became more organized and, frankly, more radical. Activists like Alice Paul over in the United States took inspiration from their British counterparts and started using militant tactics. They weren't just asking for the right to vote anymore, they were demanding it. They were picketing the White House, getting arrested, and enduring horrible force feedings during hunger strikes.
And all that defiance? It worked. The war had really shown how crucial women were to society, and the old arguments against giving them the vote started to just fall apart. This timeline shows you what happened next. The late 1910s saw this incredible domino effect, as one nation after another granted women the right to vote. It was a fundamental change to the democratic landscape of the Western world.
So, you see, the chaos and the tragedy of the 1910s wasn't just an ending. It was a violent forging process, hammering out the shape of the world that was about to come. The decade's legacy was already taking shape before it was even over.
The war officially ended with the Treaty of Versailles. But let's be clear, this was not a gentle peace. The terms forced on Germany were incredibly harsh. The war guilt clause made the nation accept all the blame for the war. They were saddled with crippling financial payments, and their military was cut down to almost nothing. This wasn't really a resolution. It was a recipe for resentment and future conflict.
So when you step back and look at the big picture, the legacies of this one decade are just immense. The old European empires were gone, replaced by new countries and a rising America. The creation of the Soviet Union sparked an ideological battle that defined the 20th century. Technology like Henry Ford's assembly line was changing everyday life forever. And, most chillingly, that feeling of humiliation in Germany after Versailles directly fed the anger that would lead to the rise of Adolf Hitler and a second, even more horrific world war. The 1910s were a crucible, a trial by fire. They took a world of empires and kings and forged a new one through unbelievable violence and upheaval. The borders on our maps today, the political ideas that shape our world, the conflicts that are still simmering, so many of them have their roots right here, in this one explosive decade. It truly is the decade that built our modern world, and it leaves us with a pretty heavy question. How are we still living in its shadow today?